You can hear me clearly.
Good afternoon, we can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you all for joining this wonderful afternoon for another session on our SBL weekly series. I would like to just confirm that we have all our panelists attending. We'll start in a few minutes. Let's just confirm we have all the panelists joined already. Okay. Thank you all for your patience. Good afternoon once again. My name is Joshua Daranijo. I am the Vice Chair of the Agricultural Law Committee of the SBL, and I would like to welcome everyone to this afternoon's webinar, organized and created by the Agricultural Law Committee of the SBL. I would like to mention that our chair, the host of today's webinar, is currently on leave and unavoidably absent. So she sends our best wishes and would like us to have a wonderful webinar today. Before I hand over to the moderator for today's session, I would like to also mention that we are currently in a series, and the Agri Committee has been in a series. Our last session before this one was about policies. We addressed infrastructure and technology challenges facing the agricultural sector. But today we are discussing financing, agricultural financing. So kindly make sure to always follow our series to see how we're tackling major issues affecting the agricultural sector. And for today's webinar, we have 3 panelists who would be doing justice to the topic. The topic for today is identifying challenges in agricultural financing, bridging the gap between financial institutions and agribusinesses. I would like to introduce our moderator for today, but I noticed that he has still not been able to join due to some technicalities. So we don't take too much of our time, I would act on his behalf, on Dr. Adewale Kupuli's behalf, pending when he's able to join today's sessions. We will have a few conversations with our panelists, and then we'll take questions from the audience. So pending when Dr. Adewale Kupuli is able to join our webinar, I would act in this position as the moderator. I'll start by introducing our panelists for today's session. In no particular order, I will start with Anuli Ijoma. One moment, please. Anuli Ginika Ijoma is a highly experienced banker with over 20 years of managing corporate and institutional relationships, with significant experience in treasury, financial inclusion, agricultural development, transaction banking, correspondent banking, and marketing. As the head of the credit and marketing department at the NISO Microfinance Bank, Anuli is responsible for the bank's credit strategy implementation, as well as oversight for credit administration, product, liability, and risk assessment, assets development, sales, and e-business activities. She leads over 12 business units in the execution of her duties and contributes towards the development of the bank across various business segments. She is also the convener of a strategic business improvement committee known as the NMFB think tank, which consists of the best minds across business units working together to provide innovative ideas for the internal efficiency of the bank. Kindly welcome to today's webinar, Anuli Ginika Ijoma. Thank you for joining us, Anuli. Anuli, can you hear us? Okay. Yes. I understand our moderator for the webinar today has been able to join. Dr. Kupuli, can you hear us clearly?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
You can go ahead and introduce the other panelists and continue with the webinar. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. You have the floor now, Anuli Ijoma.
Yes, I haven't introduced the other panelists, Doctor. So you need to introduce the other panelists before we go ahead and start with the question.
Dr. Olorunfemi Maloma works as a field officer at Beyond Beans ETG. He's a graduate of agricultural extension from the University of Ilorin He developed interest in agricultural activities at a tender age due to the importance of field availability. He specializes in sustainable agriculture with provision of food for both present and future generations, with little or no effect on the ecosystem. Indigenous knowledge in agriculture, conservation practices, and biodiversity, adoption as well as innovation technology, amongst others. He's a consultant to many farms, and he has managed many farms across the nation. He has many academic publications to his credit at both local and international levels at reputable outlets too. Presently, he has supervised many undergraduate students and is still supervising postgraduate students in the fields of agriculture and extension services. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have in our midst Dr. Olorunfemi Malomo. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you for the honor. I'm grateful.
Yeah, we go straight away to the next point, and that is your perception about agribusiness. And I would like to start with Dr. Olorun Malomo. How do you oversee agribusiness in Nigeria? In 2 minutes, please.
Thank you for this opportunity. Now, agribusiness financing in Nigeria. Now, what is my perspective? Number one, no matter how good, how brilliant, how excellent an idea is, if there is no finance, it will end at that stage of conceiving the idea. Ideas are good, ideas should be conceived, but if there is no adequate funding, the idea will be as good as nothing. That is why I can categorically say that financing is the backbone of any agribusiness. I repeat, financing or funding is the backbone of any agribusiness. Now, in Nigeria, how do agripreneurs get their funding? Some get theirs from savings, some make some contribution with their colleagues to get money, some go to money lenders, some visit financial institutions, some visit online bank and the likes. So my perspective about agribusiness in Nigeria, is that financing is the backbone of any agribusiness in Nigeria. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Finance is the backbone of any agribusiness in Nigeria. Anoli Joma, can you please speak about your financial products specifically designed for agribusiness in Nigeria?
Sorry, good afternoon, everybody. I had a little problem on myself. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I bring the very warm greeting from my executive manager of Nigeria Microfinance Bank to this event. So our products for agribusiness for the Nigeria Microfinance Bank, I will say that most of our products can be aligned with agribusiness, but we have a particular product which is called the Agrifinance Facility. That is for every aspect of business along the agri value chain, from cultivation to processing, right? And we've also aligned that particular product to the Central Bank of Nigeria Agriculture Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund, the ACGSF, which is some kind of insurance in agric lending that the CBN facilitates. And depending on the behavior of the borrower, whether the farmer or the agro processor, there is some kind of reward to them, like interest rebate. Maybe when the loan has been fully repaid, some part of the interest that was paid will be back to the customer. Then we also have our SME loan. We have anything. You can service the needs of the agro processor and other people along the agri value chain. We have our Amazon product, which is specifically for women across all walks of life. Yeah. So that one too has agriculture very much embedded into it. So any product it is that any need for anybody in the agri-value chain, we have a product, or we have products that will meet their needs. It's just for them to sit down with us, and then we walk through what it is that your operations, and advise you on the best fit. That's impressive this afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Go ahead, please.
I think we lost her. She's off the call. So maybe address other questions to Dr. Malomo. Okay, she's back on.
I'm
Okay.
so sorry. You could hear me. Can you hear me now, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, so let me just repeat my answer to the question. Is that okay?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Anulika. Dr. Malomo, I want you to take it over from there by telling us the gaps between agricultural finance institutions and agribusiness, and how can these be resolved? You've heard her, let us have the gaps and how this can be resolved. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I really appreciate her statement when she was trying to highlight the different products that they have. I can say, I stand to be corrected, that many people that need this product are not informed. This is where I will talk about communication. As good as these products are, if it didn't get to the grassroots or to the people that are in need of this product, it is as good as though nothing. Now, I will say that most agripreneurs, they don't have access to information, good information about financing. How do we curb that? There should be a private-public partnership. Let this example, NISA, permit me to collaborate with some extension agents that they are used to this dissemination of information. Let them work with NOA. These are people that are in charge of discharging information. If there is all hands on deck, we will get better results about agricultural financing. Also, permit me to tell that some agripreneurs have trust issues. Initially, when you obtain some of this loan or soft credit, there are some nitty-gritty that they are not well informed. So as the length of the loan exists, you'll be after 2 weeks, you have to increase the interest. We don't know this because we don't know. Now, let the interest be well spelled out. If agripreneurs will pick it, they will, and if they not, they won't. So let us feed agripreneurs with the right information which they need. Another thing is that level of education of some agripreneurs are not too high, which make them have trust issues. I've seen a farmer saying that it does not take loan. Anything he does with loan, it does not make good use of it, that it won't have good results. These are mindset which, with orientation, proper orientation and communication, their mindset will definitely change. Also, Nigerians, we love imported goods. Let us patronize our locally made products. This will help to boost the economy, and also it will provide a lot of benefits to the agripreneurs. There are many of these imported products that is killing our economy. Not even that, it is killing it in very large extent. So I would say that we need to patronize locally made products. Let me bring a balance. Am I now saying all local products are well produced? No. But with time, when you give reviews, okay, I bought this thing. If you can improve on this, you can improve on that, it will help. Also, there's something we call organization bottleneck. Sorry. Now, sometimes this agripreneur will apply for credit, soft loans, and like before the credit comes out, it is an issue. Let me give example. Let us imagine I applied for a soft loan. It is about to rain now. If I didn't get the funding now, it will affect my agricultural production. I will not be able to get some input which I need so that I'll be able to pay back when the result comes out. So organizational bottleneck should find a way of working around it. Now, let me put a balance also. We've seen many agripreneurs taking loan and not paying back. I've heard of someone that took probably soft loan from NISA. He believed there is insurance on the farm. Permit me to tell you that after harvesting, he himself put fire inside the farm. He himself. Then he called fire on the farm. Thank God for these external investigators. They found that had it been if the outbreak was natural, there will be crops that will be burnt. No crop was burnt. So it shows that later, when making inquiry, it was clearly said that it was after he harvested that he put fire on the farm. Now, there is a place of bottleneck where it can be thoroughly done. If loans can be quickly disbursed on time, farmers will be able to do, or let me say agripreneurs generally, will be able to do justice to and utilize the fund. Let me quickly say something here. When we talk about agribusinesses, let me quickly share that there's something called off-farm, on-farm, and non-farm. Now, on-farm are agricultural activities that brings money, that has economic benefit, that is done on the farm. I repeat, on-farm activities, they are agricultural activities done on the farm. Now, off-farm activities, these are activities that are agricultural related but not performed on the farm. Example, I can go to any farm, probably get some of their products, then go and sell. That's where selling and buying is being done. It is not on the farm. So it is called off-farm activities. Off-farm. Now, what is non-farm activities? These are activities that does not deal at all with agricultural activity. Now, the challenge is that farmers are yet to actually identify this medium at which they can get soft loans or sometimes grants.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Ijoma, I want you to take over from there. What can financial institutions do to address those issues raised by Dr. Malone, that there is a gap, there's a missing gap, very wide, between the financial institutions and agribusinesses? How do you think you can improve on that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. I will first of all say that banks lend to businesses. Okay, so Agric is a business, is a lucrative business, but it has to be presented just like an SME will present their business. You have to be able to show the viability of that business. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, please.
We can.
All right, you have to show the viability of that business. You have to be able to show that at the end of the day, the depositor's money with the bank that have been lent out to you actually come back, right? So in the course of doing business, NISA Microfinance Bank is just on 5 years old last year. And what we've done so far, we've been able to see some common denominators, with some of the agri loan requests that we've had. And I'll just say some things. We've seen some challenges that agribusinesses have when it comes to going to look for lending from financial institutions. And first of all, the first thing we see is lack of knowledge. Because most of the time, especially for the cultivation part, the farmers, the smallholder farmers, like we call them, there have been so many interventions, so to speak, trying to move smallholder farmers from subsistence farming to commercial farming. We see the lack of knowledge. They are already comfortable knowing farming to feed their families and friends, and maybe have a little leftover to sell off in the market so that it doesn't spoil. But they don't have that know-how of actually looking at this farming that they are doing as a business, something that has costs and revenue and profit implications, right? And these are things that banks look for. So we have, and also the monitoring and evaluation, looking at maybe for the big farmers now, they have their big farmers, they have their farm. We see people that, okay, they have funds available. They are looking for where to put these monies, and they think, oh, agric. And then they now go in, they think it's just to get a large expanse of land, get people to just work, and then they go home and sleep and wait for harvest. But no, they don't understand that there has to be some monitoring, there has to be evaluation, it has to be hand-holding, from the process of even the land clearing to harvest, so that you make sure that whatever it is that you put in the ground, the expected harvest, what you're looking to harvest and even sell and get your money back, pay off the loan and have some leftover, is done. Many people don't understand that, and we've had stories of people sinking in a lot of money into agric. Agric is very capital intensive, sinking a lot of money into it and then get their fingers burnt. Then insurance coverage, they think, oh, it's agric, so very minimal insurance coverage over that. Then we have diseases, and here I'm also bringing up poultry, and also many incidences of deaths. We fund poultry, and then one day we are told that, oh, all the birds died, and the insurance company goes, and really all the birds died. Other livestock, pigs and sheep and goats and all that, fish, Then of course, crops too. There are a lot of diseases that affect crops. Then if you don't have land, you go and lease land from communities. After you finish paying one particular person, maybe when you now go to farm, another group of people will come and tell you, oh, they are not aware of this, you need to pay them and that's even before the issue of insecurity now came up, and it's now very, very difficult to actually have access to your farms. We also have incidences of inferior quality of inputs provided, for farming and all. And then we've had cases of, the global warming also. There was a particular year, I think 2 or 3 years ago, where there was flood and drought at the same time in Nigeria. It took us aback, because it's either you have flood or you have drought. But when the two come at the same time, nobody anticipated that, right? And then, of course, inadequate collateral. The people that need this financing, the people that want to go into agri, they don't have the collateral that banks can accept ordinarily. So those are the challenges that we've seen so far. That's what causes the wide gap with funding agribusinesses.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Dr. Maloma, what is the way forward? What do we need to do now? How do we sort all these things out? The way forward, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I have carefully listened to my fellow panelists. She has given all the solution. Number one, as I've said earlier, we need communication. these available products, let it be accessible to agripreneurs. Now, she talked about climate change, pest and disease. Yes, anything they will be doing, let it be insured. Agricultural production you cannot actually say that this is what will happen. We only have range. There was a year with one project that was done. One project was done with IIT. Now, as good as it was, we had drought. That was 2014. Rain and all those products, nothing to write home about. Now, when services are being rendered by these microfinance banks, let the product be insured. If it is insured, there is little or no loss that will be incurred. With the insurance BI, it might, but it is like giving a shock absorber in case of indemnities. Also, microfinance organizations should work closely with the grassroots. Most of their products are seen on the television channels, they are seen on this internet. There are many small-scale agripreneurs that they don't have TV, they don't have Android phone or a browsing phone. Now, what do? When you know you have a product and it is good, go to a community which you know that probably they are into a particular product. I can say Ondo State, they have good producers of cocoa, likewise Cross River. Oyo State is a good producer of cassava. You can go to a community, get their village head. Village head, this is who we are. We want to make food available for all and sundry. How do we go about it? That is reason why we always need extension agents. Extension agents, they are like intermediary between farmers and research institutes, corporate organizations like this. Now, when you are ready to give, let them know the nitty-gritty. Let them know what it fully entails. And when they will be disbursing credit or loans, let it come on time. All these we are waiting for approval. I've had many farmers having it with approval. We are waiting for approval. How long? And agricultural activities is seasonal. If you should miss a particular season, you have to wait for the next season, which will actually affect the farmers. Agriculture also is climate driven. Now, we have many climate smart strategies. I repeat, there are many climate smart strategies. I've involved in many projects with climate smart strategies, and I can tell you we have very good results. Very good results. Now, I will also beg lending organizations or microfinance that they should please work on the communication. They have many good products, but it's as good as nothing if it is not accessible by these agripreneurs. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Our participants, in the next 10 minutes or so, the floor will be open to questions. In the next 10 minutes, please post your questions, and I'm sure our panelists will do justice to them. And only before we continue, do you need any special intervention?
Please now.
Any special intervention from the government or any key stakeholders on how financial institutions can be assisted to perform their role effectively? Let us know, please.
Okay, thank you. In the past, well, everybody knows the Anchor Borrowers program. In the past, that was an intervention of government, and now there's been further intervention in the in kind. Farmers were given this present administration under President Bola Tinubu's administration. Farmers have been given fertilizer for farming, and that was done earlier. And then there's been something again for agribusiness and SMEs is combined with from the Ministry of Trade and Industry in conjunction with BOI. And then there is a lot going on now within the government from what we've been seeing. in the mainstream media what government is planning to do in agriculture, right? So there have been interventions, and there will be interventions in the future for agriculture. And thank you. I want to thank Dr. Malomo for his inputs, and I know, but I'll also say that the scenario, because banks are commercial entities, they answer to shareholders, and these are depositors' funds. So the way banks lend to other sectors of the economy, we have to lend that same way, even to agriculture, because we need to be sure that this money is coming, and that is why worldwide there's a lot of government intervention in the agric sector, because agric is not something that you can really treat like SME or others, but we are restricted in the commercial banking space, because we have people that we need to answer to and pay dividends to. So another thing, again, when I mention all those things, I've said that government at all three levels, federal, state, and local governments, they have to come in, wade in seriously into agribusiness to make it easy for commercial banks and microfinance banks to actually consider lending to agribusiness, especially in primary production, which is where the smallholder farmers are involved, and their aggregators, people that actually buy from them. And you talked about extension services, and I don't know, something has to be done. I don't know about the agricultural development program desks at all the ministries of agric, both federal and the state ministries of agric. There's a desk there, and that desk is meant to do that hand-holding, the extension services, from when you're even clearing the land to when you're harvesting. These are people that make sure that they train these farmers. So the training that is required for the farmers, they are the ones that are supposed to do that, bring them up to speed, help them to be able to understand agric being a business and not just for subsistence. And when you're talking about the insurance coverage, it will be expensive for the smallholder farmers. So this is another area where government has to wade in, to sit down with NAIC, Nigeria Agricultural and Insurance Corporation. That was set up primarily for agribusiness in Nigeria, to have a conversation with NAIC again to do that. And then due diligence with all the people, all the parties that supply inputs for farming, including mechanization. Mechanization is very, very expensive. And if we want to do what we need to do in this country, in agric production, to be able to feed the nation, bring down the food inflation, a lot of mechanization has to be in place. The clearing of the land, the plowing, harrowing, the fertilizer application, everything, and these things are expensive. The resources needed to even carry out the mechanization, they're expensive and they are recurrent. So government has to wade in this. And the suppliers, we have to find a way to certify these suppliers. The only certification body I know is National Seed Council. I don't know about anybody that certifies, maybe Standards Organization, I don't know, who certifies the fertilizers that are brought in, the herbicides and chemicals and all. And we have good companies, homegrown companies that actually deal in all these inputs. So it's to encourage them, like Dr. Malomo said, and then give banks soft landing. Government should give banks soft landing so that the issue of collateral is soft pedaled. If we have that communication, or that's a conversation, Dr. Malomo has been saying communication from banks, so we have that communication with our customers and the general public. We're everywhere on social media, we have radio jingles, and then once in a while, we come on TV. TV is expensive, we're still a microfinance bank, So if we have this soft landing by government, we have more interactions with NIMET, so that weather forecasts, everybody just knows and prepares themselves. But you said there's seasonal farming and all. Yes, seasonal farming during rainy season, especially for flood prone areas, you can't farm unless you go upland. And during dry season, there's irrigation, you know? So we have all these things in place, but a wider conversation has to be had with government. When government is able to, you know, make sure that all parties involved are comfortable, then we won't have a problem with funding agribusiness. We will not have a problem with food. No, so that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Soft landing. Yeah. Thank you very much for the insights. We have a question.
Insecurity has to be tackled as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ijoma, for those wonderful interventions. We have a question from Emanuela Ujam. Emanuela is asking, if a fresh starter of agribusiness is coming in, what are the key awareness necessary for consideration before venturing into the business to ensure commercial success aside from finance? So she wants to know, what are the key awareness strategies to be put in place for a fresh starter of agribusiness? I don't know whether Anulika want to answer that.
Well, she's saying apart from finance, what should a starter? I don't know. I think first of all, do you even have adequate knowledge of the business? You know, because agric is just like any other business, whether you have your money or not. You know, that's number one. Do you understand how it works? Number two, are you ready to give it your time? Because agric, of all the other sectors, is not something that you will invest in and allow others to do for you. You know, it is such a delicate business, very, very delicate, especially if you're in the production side, crops or livestock. It is so delicate that it's so delicate that if you're not there, if you don't give it that attention, you find out that you lose everything because people can be careless. It is not their money, remember. It is not their life savings, not their dream. And then, do you have a market? Are you seeing a market for it? Because after you've done the production, you have to be able to sell it. If you don't sell it, everything that you've done has gone down the drain. There's nothing that you can take back home with you. You've made a colossal loss and you have to start from the scratch again. So it's, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? You need to be sure that this is what you want to do, because you need to have that passion to follow it up. And then the gestation period, are you ready to give that time? Are you ready to give all you have for the gestation period? And then what do you now do at harvest? So those are my...
Can you permit me to add little to what she has said, sir?
Yes, you will do that in your final word.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
Quickly take these two questions. The first one is coming from Jide Shitu. Please, is there a platform put in place by NISAL to ensure that loans are properly utilized for good productivity? And another question from Anthony Anukwevri. He says that he appreciates you and he wants to know what to do as a poultry farmer. How can a poultry farmer be assisted? So those are the two questions for Anulika. Then after that, Dr. Maloma can give his final word.
Okay, thank you. Can you still hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Mr. Shitu, platform put in place by NISAL Microfinance Bank. There are two NISALs. There's NISAL PLC, which is an agri de-risking agency, and there's NISA Microfinance Bank. We're different. This is NISA Microfinance Bank. So to ensure that loans are properly utilized for good productivity, yes, we have branches in all the states of the Federation. We have 115 branches, and in each state, we have at least 3 branches in each state. So I don't know which local government you're from. Maybe we have a branch there. I know, but yes, we have this. Our people in the branches work with you right from the time you walk in to request for a loan. We build a relationship with you, try to understand what it is that you're doing whilst we're processing the loans for you. Then when the loan is now disbursed, we follow up with you to monitor and all. But please know that it's a two-way street. It's a combined effort. We need to trust you. We trust that you have taken this loan and that you intend to use it for good, right? So if we notice that some things are going by the side or offside, so to speak, then we immediately call in the loan or call your attention to it and ask you to pay back or ask about it. If you're able to explain properly, we continue the relationship. But if you're able to finish up paying the loan, build that trust, you find out that it's easier to come back and ask for even a higher amount. We've had people that started borrowing from us, started with 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. Now we're at 30 million with them, simply because they were paying back as and when due. And that trust was built. They trusted us to be able to grow their business with them, and we trusted them to be able to give us back our depositors' funds. I know. Then Mr. Anthony is a poultry farmer. So there's at the end, he now put his question. He said, what constitutes adequate collateral? Is just owning the land sufficient? No, the land is not collateral, because oftentimes the land is in your village or in a community that is or community land probably that you leased. But let's assume that the land belongs to you, right? It is not in the town. It is not it's not in the state capital. It's not in the town. Maybe it's in your village. There's no way that if anything happens, maybe if an act of God happened and then you lost everything, or you decided that you won't pay the loan back, there's no way that we'll go to your village to say we are repossessing the land. Chances are that your village, your community members, your cousins and brothers will run us off the village, and then depositors' funds are lost, right? So we're looking at, if we're looking at land as collateral, then it has to be land that has a certificate of occupancy, C of O. That one, we know that it is registered with the state. And that one, the governor has to give consent for us to even take that loan from you. For us to even take that land from you to be able to secure a loan. That's the only thing. Other things that you collateral, you can use machinery, you can use equipment, that are still within their life value, not something that has fully depreciated by accounting standards.
Okay.
So
thank you very much. Dr. Malemo, maybe you may have 2 minutes, please, to answer some of these questions. This is coming from Olakunle Aribi. Is it good for a starter to start with loan? The second question is from Kainde Ojo. Why is getting finance for agribusiness so difficult for small farmers? And the last one has to do with climate change. And he wants to know why farmers or agribusiness owners in the adoption of climate agricultural practices have been difficult. I don't know how you can do that within 2 minutes with your final words, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, climate change. I was saying earlier that we have climate smart agriculture strategies. Irrespective of how the forecast comes, we can sit down. Okay, we have heard that this and this is happening so months. How do we do that? There are many ways to go around that. There are ways of doing your ridges across the slope. Irrespective of that, even when there is drought, there is a way of applying artificial irrigation, and you will get your results with ease. Now, why is it difficult to get land? One of the problems I've seen over the years is that farmers don't keep records. At least I've worked with some microfinance banks on loan. They will say, okay, give us your farm record. Let us see the number of birds you raise per year. What is your input? Farmers don't keep record. And if you don't keep record, it will be difficult. I repeat, it will be very difficult for any microfinance bank or any financial institution to borrow you money. I've seen farmers, how many chemicals do I? We just bought. No. So I'm trying to speak with my fellow agripreneurs. Let us keep records. There's something called farm records. You can engage experts to teach you how to go about it. That is that for why is it difficult for people to get funds. Now, another thing is I want quickly to answer Emmanuel Ujam question. Now, if you want to start, she has that fresh starter of agribusiness. What are the key awareness tests? Number one, we call something feasibility studies. You can't tell them they want to start pig production now. You want to start in Ilorin or Connaught or like Sokoto. That means you don't know what we call feasibility studies. You want to know what runs well, what performs excellently in the place or at the place you're about to starting your business. Number two, don't be all known. Engage experts. Engage experts. These are people that will guide you and you have a good result. Number three, try to know the available resources. What are the available resources? You can't imagine I have 10 ponds that are in good condition and I will still go and start poultry. It is possible. But once you have a poultry pond, once you have a fish pond that is in good condition, it is better you utilize that. It will beat your cost. And I want to tell anybody that want to start any business, if you don't have money for the whole cycle, don't bother starting. Don't even start. I've consulted for a farm. I've consulted for a farm sometimes ago. During the fish production, they run out of feed. And so if you don't feed this guy, because if you skip a day for poultry, for fish, it will take the fish 4 days to recover. So if you don't have the full fund that will take the whole production cycle, don't bother starting. Then I want to beg the financial institutions and government and private organizations. They should know that agribusiness is still the highest occupant of labor. And the contribution of agribusiness in Nigeria today cannot be overemphasized. They provide food, raw material, and also it is a source of livelihood for many rural dwellers. God is helping us. Let me stop.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, our discussant. You have done very well. I know the conversation continues and we attend to all these questions even after the webinar. May I now hand over to Joshua to continue the panel.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. We're trying our best to work with time and we have been on for almost an hour. So I would like to thank everyone for their questions. I would like to thank our panelists for taking our time to address all our concerns. As you can see, this conversation is never ending and it's quite a very important topic. So just stay tuned for our next series as the Agriculture Committee in the course of this year, and then you can always reach out to us and ask questions on our group chat. We have a group chat as the Agriculture Committee also. Once again, thank you all for making our time for today's session and do have a lovely evening. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much, Joshua.
Thanks for the opportunity. I'm grateful.